What's going on, JEROME homies? So it's a beautiful Saturday, and it's time for another 7-round Vikings mock draft. Now, so we usually do the the simulators, and those are absolutely fun in real time and adjusting to the board and making trades. But I just want to take it nice and slow. So 7-round Vikings mock draft where we take a little bit more time on the prospects and get some different perspectives. We got some new names. It's going to be a good time. So the Vikings execute a trade. So they sent 11, 23, and yes, the future first rounder. But it could be inevitable to get up to 3, as well as the Vikings do get a 5th rounder, 137, nailed it, back from the Patriots. So the Vikings now have 8 selections, day 3, 2 fourths, 3 fifths, 6 and 2 7s. So good times there. But also up at 3. You know what it is. So in our simulation, in our world here, Caleb Williams 1, Drake May 2 to Washington. The Vikings getting Jaden Daniels. Now, I love me some Jaden Daniels. The upside is obviously there. 6'4", 210. Adding some size is very good at his pro day. And the dimes that he dropped, the movement skills are certainly there, show up on tape. And I think that, yes, he's going to land in a great situation. The pressure isn't going to be there to start right away. You do have Sling and Sam Darnold, but also I feel like Jaden Daniels, the Skull SU connection, could definitely push Justin Jefferson over the edge and get him an extension done long term. So Daniels, I feel like he can make the intermediary throws. I think that he can be accurate across the middle. I think that his footwork was much improved at his pro day. Still needs a little bit more polish as well, but he's landing in a great situation with O'Connell and McCown. And what Kevin O'Connell needs to do, he needs to build his offense around what Jaden Daniels does well. And not only is that throwing the rock as well as his deep ball accuracy, but also his movement skills. They can't sleep on that and just add that extra dimension to the Vikings. And for Daniels, you got to learn how to slide. You got to learn how to give up the ghost and live to play another down. And every single play is not the Alamo, man. So I think that the Vikings, we're rambling and gambling, but I absolutely love it. And go up and get your guy. There you go. So day 2, not so much. But day 3, pick 108. We're back at it. In the trenches, Wayne Carter from Duke. And, yeah, there are more heralded defensive tackles out there, but Carter is a dog, man. I absolutely love him. High motor, going to get after things. Now, he's not really in the John Randall mold per se, but he is a all-around solid defensive tackle, 6'3" and change. Well, actually 6'2" and change. Rounding up, 303, 41 tackles for the Blue Devils last year, 25 pressures and 1 sack. Also, Coach Hat Matt Daniels, legendary Duke Blue Devil defender. There you go. Got the connection, but also showed up very well at the Combine and Pro Day, 8.93 RAS, and he's got good lateral quickness. He's not a first step maestro, like he's not in the Johnny Newton or Byron Murphy conversation, but as an all-around defensive tackle who can get things done against a run, who can get some quick penetration, a solid bull rush as well, plays with great leverage, also was a multi-year team captain, so he got that leadership along the defensive line. I mean, Dwayne Carter, could you say he's a slightly quicker Dalvin Tomlinson? Yes, I think that is pretty fair. Next in the 4th round, other trench, so Trevor Keegan, and I could point out yesterday, Michigan might have 6 offensive linemen drafted. And Keegan was a stud at Michigan, 6'5", 308, a 3-year starter at left guard for Michigan. So he'll be immediate competition for Blake Brandel as well as Ed Ingram. Great size, has the thickness, does have a very good first step for his size, very good at communication, combo blocks, and whatnot. And it did post an 80.7 PFF pass blocking grade last year, 11 pressures, 0 sacks, which is good. It's pretty damn good. So checking the boxes in both trenches to start things off to protect Jaden Daniels. Next up, in the 5th round, 137. So Tyrone Tracy has moved up a lot of draft charts as of late, and he's an interesting player. So I don't want to call him Ty Montgomery. I really don't. But thinking of a former wide receiver who became a running back, it's interesting. So coming out of Purdue, 5'11", 209, was originally a 4-year running back, a 4-year wide receiver at Iowa back in the day, and he was teammates with Amir Smith-Marset. So he's a little bit older prospect coming in. It is what it is. But career 113 catches, 1,201 yard, 5 touchdowns receiving, as well as 947, 10 touchdowns, 6.5 yards per carry on the ground. Over the last couple of years, he was a running back at Purdue, and he's got good shiftiness. Obviously, is a very good receiver out of the backfield, and he does bring a lot of interesting traits to the table, where he does have that quick lateral step, as well as he knows when to play downhill. 4.48 40, 9.64 RAS, good balance as well. So he's interesting. Like, if you watch him, it's hard to place. Like, in the back of your mind, you know that he used to be a wide receiver, and is he a little bit of Devin Duvernay? Is he a little bit of like Diet Debo Samuel? Sure, I think you could see that. But like I said, a little bit older prospect coming in. That's why he's going in the middle of day 3. But certainly could be interesting to add to the Vikings backfield. Next up. So we said that a backup tackle, guy that you could develop as a swing position, is really important for, Darrisaw hasn't played a full season as of yet. Brian O'Neill's also getting up there in age. But Javon Foster out of Mizzou is a project that I like a lot. 6'5", 313. He was a 3-year starter at left tackle for the Tigers. 84.8 PFF grade in 2023. 13 pressures, 1 sack allowed. Now, good size, good length, great punch as well. Athletic enough for zone. Now, it does need to clean up his footwork quite a bit. Also, hand placement sometimes can be erratic, but also can he work the footwork to be able to be that swing tackle and play left or right on short notice? Like we said, 3-year starter at left tackle. But I think that in the 5th round, in terms of a young project, I think that he would be great to work with Quisenberry going forward. Next up, still in the 5th round, Nehemiah Pritchett from Auburn. Now, Durante Jones and company were at the Auburn Pro Day, and I think that getting Flores a long, lengthy cornerback on the outside, it certainly would be the thing to do. But he's 6 foot, $190, 74.5 PFF grade last season, 58.8 quarterback rating when thrown at, 4.36 40, 9.25 RAS. So checks the boxes physically, long and lengthy, like we said, solid in zone, press man. Hips are a little bit stiff. We've compared him to Diet Trey Waynes before, but I think getting him in the 5th round is absolutely solid value. Plus, would add a lot on special teams immediately. Into the 6th round, who wants to have some fun? Who wants to have just a smidgen of fun? Because isn't that the name of the game? Like, aren't these supposed to be fun? You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. So, yes, the Vikings do have Jaden Daniels, future franchise quarterback, trade up heaven and earth if you were my QB. And yes, you signed Sam Darnold to a $10 million deal. And yes, you do have Nick Mullins. And yes, you do have the Mormon Missile. But let's take a shot. Let's take a shot. Right now, I don't believe in Joe Milton III as a quarterback. I just don't. Like, it is what it is. But combine, throwing, pro day, throwing, all that stuff. He's got a big time arm. Yes. Is it accurate? But Joe Milton, a bit of an older prospect coming in. Originally was at Michigan, transferred out when J.J. McCarthy came in. Was a backup for Hendon Hooker at Tennessee 2 years ago and took over as a starter last season. 6'5", 235, ran a 35-inch vert. Like, he's an insane athlete, right? And he completed 64% of his passes last year, 2,813 yards passing, 20 touchdowns, 5 picks. Now, you do have to take into account the Tennessee Josh Heupel offense. Those aren't great numbers, right? And in terms of accuracy, like, Kevin O'Connell stresses his number one thing is accuracy. Joe Milton, now, like we said, a little bit older of a prospect. And is it the mama I can change him situation? Maybe. And Milton, like, does Milton go down the Tyree Jackson route where he turns into a tight end, or Logan Thomas route, or Taysom Hill route? I think it's possible. But I mean, is he the designated Hail Mary quarterback? Although Jaden Daniels does have a decent deep arm. But I'm intrigued, right? And if you think back, the Vikings did sign up UDFA Cephas Johnson III, I believe his name was, where he was a college quarterback, but they were trying him at tight end. And we're just like, hey, let's do some Taysom Hill stuff. Let's do some Wildcat stuff. And Milton would be the candidate for that. It would be interesting. Just like have Milton in the Wildcat and just chuck like a 70-yard bomb. Go ahead. Go ahead, man. All right, so into the 7th round, after we've had our fun, Evan Anderson, a guy that we take a lot towards the end of these drafts. Now, he may be moving up a little bit in some of the draft boards, but Shrine Bowl superstar, adept as a pass rusher as well, but adding size, 6'3", 319. Now, he used to be like around 350, so he slimmed down in a good way, but still is able to two-gap, still has size. 83.7 PFF run stopping grade last year, 18 pressures, 5.5 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks. So he does bring some upside as a pass rusher as well, but the Vikings getting a true blue 0 or 1 tech, it's really important for me. And lastly, so could have gone receiver, yes. Didn't add a receiver in this class, but it is what it is. But Matt Lee is certainly interesting to me, and that's why we listed him twice, apparently. But Matt Lee, coming in from Miami, 6'4", 301. So, yes, another undersized center. That's how we do. But the way that Bradbury uses his leverage, it's not in the same category as Matt Lee. And Matt Lee is going to be borderline undrafted because of his size. But, and I know, I'm an advocate for bringing back the meats. We want size along the offensive line. That's why we brought in Keegan. That's why we brought in Javon Foster. But, I mean, Matt Lee is really impressive. And, watched a lot of Miami games over the last couple of years. That's just the U being the U. And Matt Lee out there, he looks like John Sullivan. And Sully at Notre Dame, Sully with the Vikings 6th-round pick back in the day, undersized center, but got things done with his brains as well as with leverage. But 4-year starter at the U, 90.2 PFF pass blocking grade over the last 3 years. And it's not like that they got small defensive tackles in the ACC either, man. So he's doing this against big-time competition, and he does it with leverage. He does it with he does have a solid anchor for his size. I think he probably could stand to add about 10 pounds, but great leader, great technique, and it's interesting. And like I said, it's 7th-round pick. It's no skin off our nose, but I mean, the Vikings could have a center project in Matt Lee. I absolutely love Javon Foster as a swing tackle project, as well as Trevor Keegan. I think that Trevor Keegan has a chance to step in right away and be one of the starting guards for the Vikings. So overall, I'm pretty damn happy with how this whole thing went down. So Jaden Daniels, future franchise quarterback, Dwayne Carter, Evan Anderson going to do great things along the defensive line. Dwayne Carter may be a future captain. Keegan, Foster, Matt Lee along the O-line. Tyrone Tracy and Joe Milton. Let's have some fun. Man. As well as Nehemiah Pritchett adding a long, lengthy cornerback on the outside, getting into that cornerback mix. So we can go from there. But that's it. A 7-round Vikings mock draft. I just want to take it nice and slow. Listen to your thoughts and our thoughts. You know what to do. Skull, production value.